that share the same story, just more modern, and it's a church and it's not outside. But of course, the events did not took place in a church, right? It was outside in the garden. Otherwise, they said it will be in the church of Gethsemane, not in the garden of Gethsemane. Okay, but what is Gethsemane? What is Gethsemane in Hebrew? Gat is press. Shemen, is the oil from the olive tree. So this is a place where they had olive trees and they pressed them for oil, like the press that we saw. Remember, before we went on the Galilee boat, before we entered the museum, we saw the oil press. So Garden of Gethsemane, a place where they press the olive for oil. And the events that we're going to read about took place in this garden. Now, we don't know if the garden was this tree or the other tree. What we do know is that it happened after the meal. Now, the meal, the Last Supper, this was a holiday, and Jews are not allowed to get too far from the city during the holiday because they observe the Shabbat and they are not allowed to walk further away. This is pretty much as far away as they could get. On the other hand, we know that Jerusalem was such a beautiful city, they were not allowed to do agriculture in the city because it's attract fly and you need to use manure, it smells bad. So this is as close as you can get to the city to do oil or to have the oil press. So the location is actually making sense, somewhere over here in this garden. And this is, of course, after the Last Supper. Let's read from Luke 22:39. Yeshua went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. On reaching the place, he said to them, "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." He withdrew about a stone throw behind them, knelt down and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him, and being in agony, she prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he rose from prayer and went back to his disciples, he found them asleep, exhausted from sorrow. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray that you will not fall into temptation." This is the middle of the night. I just had a full dinner with the Passover, okay, the Passover lamb and the bread and the wine, and he want them to stay awake in the middle of the night. It's almost impossible. The normal people will fall asleep. But he told them, this is the time that you will not fall into temptation. What sort of temptation are we talking about? What is the temptation? While he was still speaking, a crowd came up, and the man who was called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He approached Yeshua to kiss him, but Yeshua asked him, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" When Yeshua's followers saw what was going to happen, they said, "Lord, should we strike with our swords?" And one of them struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his right ear. This is very, very similar to what we talked yesterday in En-Gedi. Okay? They said, "Lord, should we strike?" And they are not waiting for an answer. They immediately presume that they know what the gods tell them to do. Okay? And they struck immediately. They immediately go to violence. This is the temptation, to believe that you know everything, not to wait to a clear answer, right? But Yeshua answered, "No more of this." And he touched the man's ear and healed him. Then Yeshua said to the chief priests, the officers of the temple guard, and the elders who came for him, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come with swords and clubs? Every day I was with you in the temple courts, and you did not lay a hand on me. But this is your hour when darkness reigns." So we see the darkness. Now, I heard someone say something very interesting, and I like to share it with you. Every day I was with you in the temple. Was Yeshua there every day? No, we know that he arrived from Nazareth and Capernaum. He was not there every day, but in his spirit, he was there every day. And you did not lay your hand on me can be that, yes, you did not raise your hand to strike me, but also you did not touch my teaching over there. You ignore my teaching over there. My teaching, my belief was there all the time, but you would not reach out and touch it, and therefore you don't understand. This is your hours. Now, darkness 9, if you would touch my teaching that was there for you, you will be able to overcome the temptation. Okay? So I think it's a very, very interesting way to read it and to understand it, to give it a little bit more context. Okay, so this is where we are in the Garden of Gethsemane, and later on we'll be able to go to the modern Roman Catholic Church that was built on top of an older church. There is another Greek Orthodox church up the hill that is dedicated to the same event, and as I told you, we don't know is it this tree or the other tree, but what's important is the lesson from the reading. Pastor.